Good morning, everyone. Hope everybody had a wonderful day yesterday, and I hope everybody's having a wonderful day today. So, we're going to be doing something a little bit different, and that is doing sort of a pseudo tutorial day. Trying to help newer players get some basic questions answered, go over some building tips and things of that nature, to make it a little bit easier for people to get started into the game, or maybe if new players have some specific questions about how do I do this, how do I do that, why does this keep happening? Because I've noticed, at least over on my Discord, that I've been getting, or not getting questions, but there has been questions raised on why certain things keep happening. And it gave me the idea that maybe doing a particular stream about that, and then later, of course, this is going to go to YouTube. But having a video available that has questions that can be answered would probably be a good idea for people. Give them a chance to kind of, if they have any burning questions, like why does this keep falling over, or why does this keep blowing up, or things like that, then we can go ahead and answer those and just help newer players out. So, and then of course, for those on YouTube, if you're watching this after the fact, if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them. But let's go ahead, and the first thing is mostly when you first land on a planet, when you respawn on a chosen planet, you are going to wind up landing in this thing, the escape pod. And a lot of people are like, well, what do I first do? How do I get started? One of the things that I'd like to do is immediately come around to the back. So if you consider the seat that you start in, this is how you start. Once you land, just hit F to hop out. Then come around to the back. So this is the front, this is the back, and press F again to interact. Boom. And then you want to look up at production. So you've got these tabs up here. The first three are really going to be your most important. Info, not quite as important, but it does have some useful information and some options. And then GPS is also going to be an important one. And that'll be for later when you need to start marking things, and you might need to come in here and turn them off or turn them back on. But we want to look at the production tab. And specifically, under blueprints, we want to look at ingots. Then from ingots, you'll have this here, literally says ingots. And what this is going to do is that this is going to convert stone. And you can see that in the middle under stored materials. It's going to convert stone into gravel, iron ingots, nickel ingots, and silicon ingots. And these are the most basic materials. Now, gravel, you're typically not going to use. Gravel, and I really wish that they would come up with a use for gravel, but for the most part, gravel has no purpose. So what you can do is queue up a bunch of these, and you can do that in a couple of different ways. First is just to single click it. Second one is control. Yep. Control, hold down the control key and hit left click, and that'll get you 10. Control Shift will get you 1,000. And then it's Control Alt. No. Alt and Shift will get you 100. So again, we'll go over that. So one click, just a left click will get you 1. Control and click will get you 10. Alt and click gets you 100. Excuse me, Alt and Shift. And then Control Shift gets you 1,000. I like to just go ahead and queue up like 12,000. And so what that will do is that as you come over here and mine, and we're going to pull out our mining drill here, which is, for me, it's my third button. Usually when you start out, this is how your bar at the bottom is going to look. Right click. I like to right click drill through the grass. And there's two drill modes. If you're not familiar with the drill, there's two modes. Right click will actually just clear out a large area in front of you. And then left click will collect in a smaller area anything that you're drilling. So we'll just clear some of this out. And I'm not going to go too deep into super new player stuff. Like, you just started out, you've never played a game before, and you need to learn how the controls work. That's a different type of tutorial. Well, this will just hopefully get you up and running. Also, L is for your suit lights. But once you get down here to sort of the rocky stuff, is where I like to go ahead and actually start collecting it. And the reason why is because you're going to get more stone out of this as you're drilling. So, left click, and you start clearing out this stuff here. That's okay, that's just a terrain glitch. And then once you have a nice little pile of rocks here, hold F and just kind of sweep around to pick up a whole bunch. There we go. Run back up. Access your survival kit, which, and we'll get to this in a second, but there's also more to the survival kit than just this. But open this up, drag over your stone, and you'll notice right away that it's going to start going through the stone and refining it down. And this is running through. And on top of that, you're seeing it producing the various ingots. So that's how you get started. And again, this is going to be something that you do a lot throughout the entire game. Whether you're mining by hand, or you're mining with a ship, or you're just collecting stuff off of wreckage, these are the sorts of behaviors that are going to be happening throughout the rest of the game. Personally, I like hand mining. It's kind of therapeutic for me in a way. But a lot of other people prefer to create contraptions, vehicles, buildings, all sorts of things to do that. Now, one of the other things that you can do is if you have a load of stuff, like you just collected a whole bunch of stone, like I just did here, you can run up to any access point. So in this particular case, we're accessing the survival kit through the back here, and you can see the yellow outline there. As long as that's highlighted, hold the Alt key and then middle mouse button click. And what that'll do is anything that can go in there, it will then deposit it. What happened to my textures? What the heck? There they go. That was weird. Alright, so that's the basics of how to get started. Now, I actually have creative mode tools turned on. Here's another good one. So you've already done that, and you're trying to figure out how to like build stuff. Press the G key, and that will bring open your toolbar config. This allows you to configure your toolbar, and you actually have 9 total toolbars. So you can see the numbers down here at the bottom, 1 through 9, right down there. And what you want to do is you want to look through these blocks. And yours may look different because you will have progression turned on, most likely. So you won't be able to see all of these options. That's okay. A lot of these will unlock as you go through and build other stuff. In fact, let me turn off creative mode. We'll take a look at, oh, nope. It's too, oh, no, yeah, we're good. No, we're not. It's too late. I've already tainted it. But the important ones, you'll be able to see a lot of these blocks. And then later on, when you need to unlock more, you can actually go over here to progression. And progression will actually show you what you need to build in order to unlock the next set of parts. And it's actually really straightforward as far as following this list. There really aren't too many things that you have to build to unlock everything else. So, but let's go ahead and turn that back on. Oh, hey, there we go. And we'll look at, actually, now's a good time. As you are playing, you are going to hear little beeps in the background. Two types of signals are going to show up. Unidentified signals, which are ridiculous distances away. Actually, that one is not that far away, strangely enough. That one is actually really close. Ordinarily, they're anywhere between 1,000 and like 10,000 kilometers away, which is out in space. This one, however, is super, super close. These are going to be difficult encounters typically, but they have the potential for really good loot. These teal-colored ones, though, unknown signals, are going to be tiny little drop pods typically. And they'll have a button on them, as well as an antenna, a battery, a parachute hatch, and a cargo container, small cargo container. And what you want to do is you want to find the button on them with the unknown signal kind of attached to that button, if you will. Press the button, and you have a chance to win a skin for your drill, your welder, or your grinder, as well as in that list, something for your engineer, a suit skin. They're free. There's a lot of different ones. There's some really cool ones, and then there's some really silly ones. And then the last thing is that you want to go ahead and collect whatever is in the cargo container. Because sometimes, especially if you just start out, it could be a brand new drill or grinder or welder that is of a higher tier or better quality. So always check those if they're nearby or if you have the time. Otherwise, you can ignore them. Also, if you just start out, they're a good source of new parts. So if you're needing some steel plate or interior plate, rotors, or not rotors, motors. There's a lot of OTORs in this. But anyway, so you've already done, let's say you've done a whole bunch of mining. This hole's got nice and big. You've got a stockpile of stuff. And you want to know what to do first. Well, what you want to do at that point is you want to build yourself a little base. Grab some armor blocks here. You don't need to grab all of these. You really only need the light armor block. And I'm going to turn this off for a second. Let's get some steel plates. And again, you make these the same way that you make the ingots. You can just left click or control click, control shift, that sort of thing. All right. Come over to inventory. Grab the steel plates. And we want to put down a few of these. And then we want to go ahead and elevate this a little bit. Okay, that'll be good. And this is going to be sort of the start of a mini outpost. I wouldn't make this your initial main base. Only because of the fact that you're going to rearrange stuff a lot. So think of this as just a temporary start base. Usually. All right, next up. I'm going to go ahead and grab some more stone here. And one of the mods that I like to run with, because you can actually run with mods in this game. You can download them from the Steam Workshop or the website mod.io, which really is useful if you're on console, since you can't get access to the Steam Workshop. All right, got a whole bunch of this. But one of the mods that I typically tend to run with is auto ore pickup. It'll just pick up all of the stone and iron ore and other ores for you as you're drilling, so you don't have to go through this until your inventory is full, in which case then it does start dropping it on the ground. But we'll just grab a whole bunch of this just so that you can kind of see how that's going to wind up going. All right, good. Drop that all off. It's going to make the ingots. Yay. Again. Now, the way that this works is, as you notice, it says queue. So this is queued up as the first most thing that it wants to do. So if I add anything else after that, it's not going to get done. So we'll do a couple of these, and then we'll do some interior plates, because I know I'm going to need those real quick. And then once it runs out of stone to go through, this will sort of pause as it starts building the next things. If you need this stuff to be built first, you can just grab the ingots, move that to the back of the list. And it will go ahead and start working on that, or everything else first until it gets to this. All right, back to inventory. We'll grab our steel plates and our interior plate. Oh, and drop off more of our stone. All right, so the next couple of things that you're going to need to build are the basic assembler, the basic refinery, then you want the wind turbine. There's actually two here. They perform the exact same function. It's just which one you wind up looking at. Now, one of these is part of vanilla, so if you only get the base game, only get Space Engineers, you're only going to get this one type of wind turbine. If you get all of the DLC, however, you will also get this second one. Also, to add an item to your bar, if you just right-click it, it'll automatically add it down here. Otherwise, you can just left-click and drag it down. All right, so you've been doing all this work, you've been drilling and whatnot, you've gotten some stuff ready, and you're noticing that your energy is getting low, or your hydrogen is getting low. So what you're going to want to do is you want to come over here to the backside of your survival or your escape pod, and you want to look at the right side, and you'll see this survival kit thing here. If you hover your mouse pointer over this and hold F, it'll start refilling your hydrogen, your oxygen, your health, as well as your power. You can also recharge your suit power by just sitting in the seat. So again, look at it. When it's highlighted, press F, and this will recharge you because you're basically at that point attached to it, and it works that way. Game logic. All right. Now what you want to do is we want to take the basic assembler, and the orientation may be a little bit different for you when you first grab it. But what you want to do is you want to use the rotational keys to rotate it to a acceptable orientation. And to use those, you want to use, if you have a full-size keyboard like I do, you want to use the insert, home, page up, delete, end, and page down keys. And you may have to go into your options to change those if you have one of the smaller keyboards. I'm not sure what you would use in that case, but that's up to you. Good luck figuring it out. But what you want to do is we're going to go ahead and orientate this so that that yellow conveyor port is facing outwards so that we can get access to it. And that's important. You have to make sure that your conveyor ports are easily accessible. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch back into creative mode for this. This is going to bypass needing to weld it up because that'll take a while. But actually, no, we're not going to do that. The others we will, but this one we won't. Okay, so you'll left click, boom, drops it down, and you get this outline here. So now you have the start of your basic assembler. What you can do here is with your welder out, get close until you see it outlined in green. And if you're colorblind, my apologies. I don't know what it'll show up as, but you'll see this box kind of surrounding it. Right click on it, use your right mouse button, right click, and you'll see components added to build planner. What that means is that you have now added it to a build planning queue. And to get to that, you want to press the G key. It's the same key for doing your toolbar config. And you'll see the build planner over here, the bottom right. Now, what that allows you to do is you queue up to 8 blocks or items. And then you want to come over here to your survival kit. And you want to press middle mouse button. Now, here you'll see cannot withdraw such and such items. Essentially, all that says is you don't have the items available in your survival kit in order to pull them out. The build queue, build planner, is basically making it easier for you to collect items to then come over here and build with. So, one of the other things you can do is queue up the parts to be built. And if you press Shift, middle mouse button, it will go ahead and start attempting to build all of those parts, assuming, of course, you have the required materials for it. So if you come over here to production, you'll see I've got all these parts that it's trying to build. Now, because I don't have enough materials for this, it's going to stop at a certain point. So this is where you would be drilling a whole bunch. Bring it over here to drop it off. Let it do its thing. Once it has enough parts, or it has all the parts built, middle mouse click there. Bring it over and start welding until this thing is fully finished. So now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to turn the creative mode back on so we can get this finished up. All right. Basic assembler is now assembled. What you want to do is look inside of it. And actually, let's go over this real quick. You've got two buttons over here which are going to show two different types of inventories. Either the personal inventory of the item that you're looking at, or if you click the other one, it's going to show all of the inventories of the connected grid. So we've only got the one inventory on this grid of blocks. But if we come over here to the survival kit, you'll notice we've got a lot of other inventories here. And most of these items go through any type of conveyor system. There's two types. There's small, and then there's the large conveyor system. But the bottles here, your hydrogen bottle and oxygen bottle will not. They've got this little square symbol with a line going through it. That means that item will not fit through a small conveyor network. And that's something that later on you'll start playing with more. Get power back. All right. So the basic assembler does essentially half of the work of the survival kit. But the reason why you want it is because it can build more parts than the survival kit can. So that's why you go ahead and get it built. Negative. Go, go, go. So after that, what you want to do, by the way, hey, bread. Once you get this built, the next thing you want to build is not too bad. You want to go ahead and build the basic refinery. And again, you want to orientate that so that you have access to the conveyor ports, the yellow ports there. But in this case, you want to make sure that it's lined up with the basic assembler. This run is actually just a tutorial run. It's just for today. Basically just going over how to get started. And then if new players have questions on how to build things, need some tips and tricks, that sort of thing, I'll be able to go ahead and answer those. So that's what today is about. I just figured, because I was noticing Sectoid had some problems with building a rover and had some issues with, it tipping over and things like that, that I would go ahead and cover some, how to do this, how to do that, why those sorts of things are happening. Sorry, buddy. You just needed to be an example. But I figured it was a good way to do that. And honestly, Sectoid, it's okay. Because I've had those very same questions. And I have made those very same mistakes going, why does this keep happening? And then through experimentation realized, oh yeah, this is why it keeps happening. So I figured I'd go ahead and use today as just a way to answer questions for people and kind of go over some how to get started. So once this is made, and you can actually move this closer. Good. Yeah, because that's one of those things. That's one of the ones that I wanted to cover as well. But let's go ahead. We'll pop that down. And as long as those two conveyor ports are connected, you'll be able to move items back and forth between them. And then the last piece of this puzzle is going to be your wind turbine. And what you want to do is pop this up on top of your little tower, and it'll go ahead and start generating power. Nice. The most useless, I would say, you probably don't need the decorative DLCs. They have nice parts in them, but there's nothing game-changing about them. All it is some pretty parts. So, all the others, though, add, well, I guess technically they're all useless when you really think about it, but no. The decorative blocks, the decorative packs are probably the least important out of the bunch. So you could definitely get those later on. Let's also make this daytime. So that will be your starter base, plus you will need a battery. So we'll come over here and then we'll look up battery and just slap that on the base as well. Get it built. And now you have your outpost. And everything else runs like that. Yeah, okay, so that brings up a really good question as well, is how to find ores a little bit easier. And ores are probably the biggest bane, because sometimes you'll be able to find cobalt is a great example. Sometimes you can find cobalt right away, and you will find a ton of it. Other times, you can't find cobalt to save your life. There's just none around. Most likely what's happening is that the cobalt is nearby. It's just deeper than you can actually scan. And it looks like have any... Well, it looks like I might have some more patches nearby. It's hard to tell sometimes. Not seeing any of the usual immediately verifiable. Frostbite? Yes. Like I said, the only ones that you really don't need is the decorative DLCs. You can look that up real quick. It's been a while since I've actually paid attention to all of the DLCs. Because I know that Frostbite gets you, was it Triton? Is it? Let's see. Oh, Jesus. You could probably do... You could probably do without heavy industries. Because again, so most of the DLCs are primarily just cosmetic blocks. They're not game changing. They're not going to be, you have to have these. So the only ones that I would absolutely recommend getting are going to be the Warfare DLCs, Economy Deluxe actually is going to be a good one to get. Oh, gotcha. Well, so Industrial Overhaul as a mod is going to be different. But anyway, and then you don't need the style pack. And I guess no, you do actually kind of need Frostbite because it has some really useful stuff in it. You could probably get away with also removing the Warfare 1 DLC. Because there's nothing in it that is like super critical. Warfare 2, definitely keep that one. But Warfare 1, you could probably do without. Since most of what it covers is more of the ground-based stuff, as opposed to the others, which are a little bit more ship-based. Okay. Now let's see about doing up a rover real quick so that we can find ore easily. For the most part, yeah. Actually, give me a second. I'm going to go refill my water. I'll be right back. There we go. Hey, what's up, clone? All right. So, wanting to look at rovers and how to construct them. What I'm going to do is break a couple blocks out here. And then get rid of this so I can get my normal toolbar going. Yes, there we go. Hey, yes. That's true. The industrial cockpit is amazing. I love that cockpit. Cargo. Bears. These. Those. And then... what even is in... honestly, I don't know. It's been so long since I've actually looked at what the DLC has. Let's see, what do you come with? Space engineers. Soundtrack. It doesn't look like you need it. So you could, again, you could probably get that later. Yeah, I think you're right. Like, it's got some other miscellaneous stuff, but nothing that actually directly impacts the gameplay. So you could absolutely get away with not having it. Okay, what we want to do is... I wouldn't say I've been on Mars a lot, but I have been to Mars a couple of times. It's basically like all the other planets. Why? Rotor? Grind that off and make this a small head. Okay. I mean, I mined on it like I mine on everything else. I'm not entirely certain. How did you get in here? I closed that door. How did you get in here? Right, hold on a second. Oh God. Okay, so what um Yeah, gold is definitely one of the worst ones to try and find. Yeah. No, that is not for you. And so what happened with the door is it's not a door per se, like it's not one of the full-size door. It's one that my brother and I put together where it's just a big piece of plywood, a 2x4, and then a couple of hinges with one of those sort of hook and eye latches so that I can lock it off if I need to. But because it's hand built, it's not the best. And so what winds up happening is the side that is not with the hinges will warp slightly and bend, and it doesn't catch along the trim of the wall, which during the summer it typically will. But right now it's kind of curled slightly, and so it can open enough on the back swing that if they push enough on it, it'll just open up, and that's what happened. So I just said, screw it, and I'm opening the whole thing. Hey, thank you for the follow there, Top Tier Mitch. Much appreciated. All right, so as far as Mars goes, I'm not 100% certain. Not too bad about yourself. But one of the ways that you can handle, if you're noticing that you have thin layers of ore while you're trying to drill in a particular location, is that there are a couple of different ways that you can build your drills for that. The first is a scraping drill, so that what happens is you build it with a set of pistons going out, and then you also build it with a set of pistons going down. And what it'll do is it'll first go out and it'll scrape. And if you're just getting stone and you don't want it, just set that to eject. Just use conveyor sorters on that and just kick the stone out. Then have it drop down at the end by a certain amount. Usually I think it's like 2.5 meters. And then have it retract and just start scraping off the stone as you go down until you get to whatever your maximum depth is going to be. You don't have to. It's one of those that you could easily do it with event and timer blocks. You just have to play around with the timing. I absolutely am. SE2 is going to be a lot of fun. Now, initially, it's just going to be creative mode. And not all the blocks and no planets. But that's okay, because what it's going to do is it's going to allow us to get a chance to get our hands on the new unified grid, on being able to build stuff, getting to understand and learn the tools for building. So that way, once survival does eventually come out, that's the point where I think it's really going to take off, and we're going to see so many amazing creations. It's going to be beautiful. Okay. You know what? What I was going to work on, I think we're just going to go ahead and switch gears here. We're going to keep it new player friendly, obviously. If you guys have questions, let me know. But well, and that's fortunately they're keeping it that way. They are definitely modernizing it, though. One of the biggest drawbacks to SE1 has always been the 2-grid system. They've always had to work around that, as opposed to being able to actually just, you know, make the game better. I mean, they've done a good job with what they have. So one of the ways that I get around pushing my drills out horizontally is to actually set up the so basically you'll have a piston. Well, yeah, it's the same. Let's see if I can pull this up here. Oh, there it is. Let me get whiteboard up here. Ah, that's bright. Okay, I need something. Nope, I need a different one. New whiteboard. Okay. Yes. Yeah, that's you're gonna find those. It's nice when that happens. Go away. Okay. Let me get this out. God, this is dusty as hell. Okay. Switch over. You. I want this. Nope. That. Okay. You're about to get blinded. My apologies. All right. So what we're looking at is you're needing to set up a horizontal and so much dust on this thing. I need to use it more. All right. So you're looking to set up your drill rig, and you need to do it horizontally. And this is pretty straightforward for vertical as well. But essentially, what you'll have is you'll have your conveyor block here. Oh, Jesus. This is. No, that's not working. Okay. You'll have. You'll have your conveyor block here. And then you'll do. God, I need to practice. That's so terrible. You'll have your piston. I am no pirate software, that's for certain. And then what you will do is conveyor junction elbow, conveyor junction elbow. Actually, all those would be. This would be conveyor all the way down. Oh, I can just hold it. And then. And that just becomes conveyor junction all the way back down. So all of this is conveyors. And then you have another piston. There. And you do that for so many versions of it. You can stack it. You can do all sorts of stuff like that. Then what winds up happening is that when you get ready to get to your drill section, you go ahead and you put another conveyor junction here. And I like to do 2 of them. Give it a little bit of extra space, because then along the outside here, on either side, what are you doing, Nibbler? Don't even. On either side, in line with it, you can actually go ahead and build out an axle of some sort and put tires over here. And I like to attach them with rotors. But you can put the wheels over here. And so what'll happen is that as this extends outwards, and once it gets to a certain extension, it'll start trying to drop down. Exactly. You use the wheels as a support mechanism so that this never drops down lower. And that'll help maintain the height that you're looking for. That'll make sure that this doesn't go too low or break. Either way, like however you want to actually do it, you can. I just like having some sort of support here to make sure that once these pistons get to full extension, because you can have however many you want, but once these pistons get to full extension, they don't droop down and the vibration from the drill doesn't snap them off. So that's the way I would do it for the horizontal, because then you can just suspend the drill underneath. Just make sure that your drill heads wind up centered and it'll make life easier. But that's the way I would do it. Well, in that particular case, what you're wanting to do is go ahead and set up stone sorters. Sort of like I do on my mining ships, where I have the stone ejector system. Just have a whole bunch of stone conveyor sorters attached to connectors, either small connectors or large connectors, depending on the size of the ship, and then have it set up to filter out stone and just eject the stone. Actually, no, that's just normal for space engineers. Nanobots can actually be set to ignore stone. You can actually tell it to stop picking up stone. It's one of the options. Nickel. I mean, again, that's one of those things, that's a you thing. I know. Oh, build and repair. Okay, yeah. In that particular case, you should be able to tell build and no, I don't remember. Because I know I had that problem as well. Oh yeah, steel plates. Good old steel plates. This is actually, yeah, we'll just leave it as is. Yeah, no, build and repair is definitely, like, it could use some options for that. It really could. Yeah, if stone's not the issue, then I wouldn't worry about it. I know when I was drilling out the tunnel, my 2-kilometer tunnel base, that was one of those things is that I did have to set up a section for just ejecting tons and tons of stone. Control the shit. Yeah, basically. But yeah, that's one of those things that once you start learning some of the keyboard shortcuts, it makes the game much easier. Nickel! Oh my god, clone. I'm going to smack you for not being able to remember that. Alright. Switch. I have. Oh, God, yes. I got out of the habit of using nothing but stone only because of the fact that you get more from the raw resources themselves. Some demonstrations of Clang. That's pretty straightforward and easy. I do that all the time. But yeah, we probably could. How would I demonstrate Clang easily? Yeah. Well, and a lot of solar early on is actually really useful until you get any of the other powers. There you go. All right. A demonstration of Clang. What would be a good demonstration of that? Honestly, that's the problem. Is trying to come up with a method to demonstrate Clang is always harder than it just being an accident. Yeah, no worries, Sectoid. Um, shoot. Actually, no. I know a great example of Clang. I don't know if I can cheaply build it. Sure have. Okay, good. Yeah, I was just thinking that. Well, see, that's why you go ahead and you use the drills to drill out your large space underground for parking your ships. Trying to think of. Trying to think of an easy way to do this. Oh, helps if I have some steel plates. Steel plates. Give me some of that. Some of that. I also need to do a bunch of drilling at some point. Okay. And then I need piston. Okay. And then I need battery. Okay, 2 power cells. Yeah, sideways mining is actually the slowest of the progresses to be made. In that particular case, what I wound up doing for drilling sideways was actually just making a spinning drill setup. 2 heads works well on that, 4 heads works better, so that you've got a drilling head in all 4 directions, so that as it spins, and especially because even though the center, your forehead, even though the center will be spinning at the same speed, the farther out that the exterior heads get to, the faster they wind up going. And it's one of those really fun things about geometry and calculus and trigonometry and all that other math. But just it also demonstrates how you could be going super slow in the middle, but once you get out to a certain point, you're just going faster and faster. So that's why at that point having 4 drill setups works so much better. Oh, wow. That's a teeny setup. All right, let's make this a little more stable. So that when I lift this up. Okay, let's reverse this. Oh, okay, yeah, I know those pistons. They're good pistons. Let's not tear the battery off right away. Merge blocks. One there. And then I need one more there. It's doable. One of the things that I found when you're dealing with a lot of huh. But when you're dealing with a lot of drills and a lot of pistons, what you want to do is make sure that the center line for where your main piston is at and the center line for where your drills are equal. So you can actually build all around that with pistons, but as long as the centers are roughly equal, then it doesn't shake as badly or as much. And I think it just has to do with the way that the physics are handled in the game. Ah. Of course, I would choose the one place where that will actually get handled. Yes, it is. Doing any sort of round building in a square block game is a challenge, but it is fun, and it is a great way to practice. Okay, I am looking for... What am I doing? I don't even know anymore. I'm so distracted here. All right, we're trying to set up a Clang machine. Aha. Now I remember. And then I need... Merge block there. Nice. Yeah, and honestly, sometimes basic is better just because it's going to be easier to deal with it. That's one of those things that oftentimes people are like, oh, basic is so basic. It's like, yeah, but it works, don't it? Gotcha. That's one of those things that whenever you've got a deep hole like that, and or a hole where you're going to have any sort of depth to it, and you need things to go up and down the height. I always like doing lights with blink offsets so that it looks like the lights are running upwards or down depending on which direction I want. Makes it always look a little bit more interesting that way. Hey, a lightning storm. Need more steel plate. Okay. That'll do it. And finally, put nope, like that. Both of these. I've got Ember on right now. Yeah, I do. I almost always do. If I'm running modular encounters, it's Ember, Parallax. Every once in a while, I'll do Corruption. Okay. I've not tried to do it that way, so I don't know. Usually, if I'm fighting them, it's because I'm trying to blow them up from a distance. I need a control panel on this thing. That's what I need. Nice. There we go. Okay. So piston 1, piston 2, pistons. Actually, I want all of these. And this is going to be interesting. Well, all the pistons. And here we go. Hitting reverse. And clang. There we go. That is what happens with clang. Essentially, you've got two pistons pushing down, one piston pushing up. Actually, no, two pistons pushing up, one pulling down. They're fighting against each other in opposite directions, so it doesn't know what to do. So you could essentially just leave this alone. And it will do this forever. But that is essentially clang. And in fact, you can actually use this behavior to make clang drives. You can make rotor weapons. You can do all sorts of random crazy stuff. There it goes. Actually, technically, it will stop at some point because of the battery, but Oh God, where did it go? Oh God. it's it's now been released into the wild. Okay. Once it hits daytime, we'll try and find it, but I don't know where it went. Wait, what just... Something just exploded. But I don't know what. Okay, Robert. Let's see if we can go find it. Where did... What I want to know is where it went. Well, if it exploded, I might not be able to. It's hard to pinpoint where it was at. Oh, here it is. Found it. Wow, that actually got a pretty decent distance away. But yeah, that's what happens with Clang, is that if not properly controlled, but Clang is essentially just the physics engine having a bad day, which is hopefully one of the things that they have fixed in Space Engineers 2. Yeah, exactly. It's even worse when they're locked down. All right, let's get back here. It's real easy to put entire craters into the ground with a Clang drive if you're not careful. Hell, even if you are careful, it's still easy to do. Done it so many times on accident. All right, we really have to find some... Well, no, because we found silver, which is really what we needed. So don't actually need to find any gold at the moment, because there's nothing that gold is going to give me right now that I absolutely need. I have the upgraded tools. We managed to get that from the wreckage of that one ship, which was cool. So really, what I should do is to start looking at, a shelter for the vehicles here. Which, how do I want to set that up? But a shelter for them, as well as maybe starting to figure out the rocket facility. Also, oh yeah, I still have that. Also, so in 2 weeks is when SE2 comes out, although it probably won't launch until the afternoon because that's the way it always is. It's frustrating. Okay, yeah. So what I want to do is let's go ahead and look at getting the vehicle bays started. So we're going to go ahead and I need to turn those on. There we go. Oh, that's right. There. Can't move if your brakes are on. So we'll move this out of the way. That should be good. Because what I'm thinking of doing is making it an extension off the side of this building, if you will. Of course, this poor little guy. How are your batteries doing anyway? No, you're good. There. Let's drop this down. And you're back again? Yeah. All right, excellent. And drop you down. Go ahead and let the batteries recharge on that while we're working. We've got plenty of power. So what I want to do is let's grab some more steel plate. Some interior plate. And what I want to look at is essentially doing what I did with the solar panels. Also need to clean these up. Typically while I'm working, one of the things that I do is I have Jesus while I'm working. He's in my soul. But I will actually have, in most cases, my first, second, and third bar set up with stuff that I use pretty much all the time. And then bars 4 through 9 are just miscellaneous stuff that I need at the time. All right, come on over. Come on. Yeah, it's okay. You're almost there. You're partway there. Come on. Come here. Get over here, goober. Oh man. Cat tax. There she is. Now I get white fur all over me again. And of course, Hollows isn't around. Cats finally make their way into my room on their own accord. Hollows is nowhere to be seen. It was kind of nice last night. So I had gone upstairs. Mom and I were trying to figure out what we were going to do for dinner. Oh, I didn't finish these. I need to do that. And yesterday I wasn't feeling too hot, and so I'm sitting there, and we've got basically the way that our kitchen is set up is that we've got a hallway for a kitchen, very narrow, but then it also has the doorway which comes up to another little hallway where a couple of closets are. And we've taken a couple of our wooden chairs and we put them there. So that way, if somebody's cooking, the other two of us can just sit in those chairs and talk with them while they're cooking, because we're all big people in the sense that we're over like 5'9" or taller, and then we're all like not skinny. Okay, either get up or lay down. I don't care which. Just stop bumping that hand. I need it. So, any one of us in the kitchen is already taking up a lot of space. You get all three of us in there, and it's a fun ballet of trying to get around. I don't think I grabbed everything I needed because somebody was distracting me. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So having the 2 extra chairs is great, and the cats love it because when a person is sitting down, they will try and get into the lap. And so at first I had Runt. Absolutely, it must be paid. At first I had Runt, and he's the only male of the 4, but he's also not really a runt. He's massive. I'll squeeze you into a smudge. So he was up on my lap for a little while, and he's just so cuddleable. You just want to grab him up and then just squeeze him, and he loves it. And then after him, Taz got up in my lap. And you guys don't often see her because she doesn't often come down. Also, you probably wouldn't see her anyway because she's all black. There we go. So, but she laid down in my lap, and I was petting her for quite a while. She was an absolute heaven. She was so happy. She was like, oh God, yes, I'm getting love. Which she gets doted on a lot. You gonna lay down? You gonna lay down and just get comfortable? You know your sister would. Squish. Just pop your head right off. Just pop it off like a Barbie doll. Oh, she is. She is such a lover, but she's so aggressive about getting love. And yet she's also the most scared of the 4 cats. Isn't that right? Yeah. You know, if you just laid down and got comfortable, you would be fine. Okay. Well, Cooper. All right. So that's a window, you idiot. Wow. How's your battery? Almost done. Cool. Okay. So what I was looking at doing was grabbing some steel plate, which I already have, and some interior plate. Probably some construction components. I need that hand, Goober. That hand is the useful. Just lay down. And what I want to do is build this out here. Where's that T-junction? There it is. Yeah? Is that what you want? To a truss light. And then back to 3 and 4. Done. You gonna lay down? Huh? You gonna lay down? And then, what's that? No, that's 3. Okay, that's it. I'm needing my hands, cat. She'll be back. Okay, this get distracted here. All right. I need that. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we'll do one of the pillars. And then finally, I will do 2, 4. There we go. And then I can go ahead and build this into the side of the wall for this next building. That way I do kind of maintain a similar style to what I've done out here with these towers, with the exception being the lighted trusses. Although it almost works. Almost. And then for those, we'll pop these up here. Pop that one down there. Now, I don't quite know how I'm going to build the garage here for the other rovers, of which currently I only really have 3 that I have to worry about. Technically 4. Since I've got Red Rover, I've got the big detector, I've got the tiny little one, and then let's see, and then I've got the tank, the unfinished tank, which that was an amusing story. All that work for something that was absolutely not needed. Okay. So what I want, that's directly off of that corner. Okay. Let's build this out a little ways. And I think, hey, what's up, Tommy? I think what I need to do for this is to go ahead absolutely. You are 100% correct. Wind turbines would be better, which is exactly why I'm not using them. It was more of a personal choice as opposed to an efficiency choice. And that was just because wind turbines are woefully overpowered. Fortunately, I'm playing single player, so I don't have to worry about that. Oh, gotcha. Did you ever get an answer to your question there, Tommy? I didn't exactly follow up on it, so I don't know. Oh, gotcha. You're not wrong there, Sir Cat, but the impact is negligible, and it's just, again, personal preference. I absolutely wanted to use solar panels because that means that I do actually have to worry more about power generation. But considering the fact that, again, playing single player, I don't have to worry about the server. Let's make this one about that wide. Actually looks like a good choice. Okay. That'll be a good start. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to make this an open air garage. So similar to the way that you can just drive through in this, I'm going to do the same thing over here. It's obviously it's going to need to be a lot wider. But this is kind of a good start as I want it kind of like the sheds that you see in like the farming simulator games. Oh, gotcha. See, that's part of the problem is sometimes you're just asking a simple question and everybody gives you the complicated answer or go look it up yourself. Well, I tried looking it up myself. That's why I had the stupid question. You know what? Let me see what I can find real quick. Space engineers, scripting API, laser antenna. Connected. Let's see. Block name of connected antenna. Let's see. Bu- 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 Okay. I'm my laser antenna interface. Let's see. This block interface. Yeah, I'm not too certain, so I wouldn't necessarily know what I'm looking at. Oh, fair enough. I'll see what I can find, Tommy, because that is one of those things that I'm sure it's out there. It has to be out there, and there has to be a way to see when to, well, basically to check the connection status of a laser antenna. Anyway, Let's see. My first. That should be good for the first one. If I make them about 3, so 7, that's 4, 5, 6, 7. Boop. Okay. So if I make them about this width, that should be good for most of my rovers. Let's go ahead and bring the big girl over here. The laser antenna? Oh, God. Whoops. Hello, body. Just basically, yeah. Like there has to be within the block some sort of call it makes. Namespace. Let's see. Position. Here we go. Properties. Is yeah. I really need to learn the scripting. That's what it is. Well, and it would have to have some way of knowing that it is connected. There's just no way around it. You have to know, or the block has to at some point know when it is connected somehow. So I would hope that they have exposed that in the API and to allow scripters to know, like, hey, this block is connected. That would make sense. That's what those are. There we go. It depends on which cat shows up next. Is that how I had it set up? Yes, it is. Okay, cool. Yeah, that is going to be wide enough for the tank. Yeah, so this one is definitely going to be one of those buildings that is open air. I'm not going to put walls on all the sides. Need to be able to set it up so that I can park each vehicle pretty easily. Well, really, it's scripting in this game is just it is what it is. You either love it or you don't. but I'm fairly certain that there is a way to expose that particular property of the laser antenna. There we go. Yep, okay. And then I want more interior plates. Because I want these. I'm going to run these all the way down the interior blocks along the sides because it's going to look cool. There we are. And then I can go ahead and use half blocks for the rest of the floor. They will be cheaper. Well, sometimes just don't get to do that. Sometimes what you have to do is iterate through a whole bunch of properties to figure out what it is. That's just the nature of programming. There we go. Those will actually be pretty cheap to build. Now I can go ahead and put in these guys here. Down to there. Oh, you're back again. You got to come over here on your own. I'm not going to keep doing it for you. It's okay. Come on. Now, fair enough. I have been programming off and on, mostly off, but I've been programming off and on now for 20-ish years. And there's still tons I don't know. Tons. Yeah, I got you. We're a little bit chilly. Where's your sisters? Where's your brother? He's probably upstairs asleep. You gonna lay down in my lap? Be a good girl? Yeah? Or are you gonna be a pain in the ass? Oh. Thank you for the bits. Much appreciated there, buddy. Yes, Squish. Well, she is just so small too. Aren't you? You're just a tiny little thing. All right. Let's get that in there. This is, oh man. So apparently the trick to Twitch really is just, showing your pussy. That's apparently all it takes. Oh man. Sorry, that was a terrible joke. Does this mean I'm an e-girl now? Oh man. Okay. Will you just lay down and get comfortable? Huh? That's my water, not yours. No, that's true. Oh. Twitch can't stand a lot of stuff these days. It's sad. Just lay down, get comfortable, okay? That's all you got to do. Just lay down and be comfortable. Yeah. If you could just do that, you could chill in my lap, and then you'd fall asleep, and it'd be nice and warm. Yes, it would. All right, go on. Go on. Don't start the arm bumping. Let's this and then and here. And this will essentially be fortunately, she doesn't do that. And ordinarily, they're not in here. I have a door. Because I don't have a proper doorway down here. This is actually what would I guess be considered either a family room. I think this would be the family room. But we have a living room upstairs. What are you playing with? Oh, you're playing with the pen. Okay. But we have a living room upstairs, so this would be the family room. But it's always been, well, oh, you would just knock that down, wouldn't you? It used to be my dad's office, and then when he retired and then later passed away, it became my room. Gotcha. No, because you probably have to get... Well, I don't know about this enough about the scripting. What you would most likely have to do, if I remember the script that Fant wrote, or any of the scripts that I've tried to mess with, is that you have to assign what you would do is basically assign that block ID by first finding it in the grid. Then once you found it in the grid, you can assign it to a variable. Once it's assigned to a variable, you should be able to then pull up its properties. Oh, that was a good one. And then from there, you should be able to true, false, or if statement. But I don't see... don't see a place here for if it's connected. I see is working. But I don't see any of the properties for that specifically. Yeah, I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't know enough. So, but let's get back to this. You dropped the pen again, goober. you go? All right, cat just disappeared. Let's see. Let's do. Nope. Half blocks. Run these down here. And nope. And there we go. Oh, God. Okay. So I don't know how many of you have ever played World of Warcraft. But one thing that I have learned over the years, and this actually is for any large community or large enough community where you have a lot of strong personalities at play. And this is one of those things that is always hilarious to me. But invariably, when you have a community with a bunch of strong personalities, what winds up happening is that oftentimes they will wind up butting heads and turning it into a giant drama fest. And this just always happens. Always. I have never seen a situation where it doesn't happen. Recently, and I'm not sure how many people, how many of you guys have been following this, or if at all, I'm not invested in the drama as in like I'm picking sides so much as I'm just kind of enjoying it from sort of a, I don't know, what's the best way to describe it? Like watching a television show. That's basically the way that I've been treating it. But there is a group of streamers on Twitch who have been doing the hardcore classic WoW for a while now. A lot of big names too. A lot of them have been streamers for a long time or have huge followings. You've got like Soda Poppin', Tyler One, Mizkif, Thor from Pirate Software. Like, you've got a lot of big names that are part of this group. And they've been in this guild called Only Fangs. And all it took was one dungeon and a partial wipe for an absolute shit show of drama to get started. And it has been absolutely hilarious to watch because of the fact that it has resulted in probably one of the biggest community sort of explosions that's happened in a long time. Essentially what happened is that they were running Dire Maul North, which is kind of it's a kind of shitty part of the instance anyway. And one of them did a bad pull at the wrong time. And as expected, it all went sideways. And because it's a hardcore server, if you die, that's it. Your character's done for, and you've got to start all over again. And at that point, you're already up to like level, I think that's 46 to 52, if I remember right. So you've already put in a whole bunch of hours into this. So they had a bad pull. Two of the players lost their characters because they died. And then an absolute shitstorm of drama. That's right. I meant to grab some more. Oh yeah, no, it's still going. So it has developed. Apparently, it got so bad that Thor and a lot of members on his team were actually getting death threats from people. which I find absolutely hilarious. Not in the haha, he was getting death threats, but hilarious that people are so violently invested in this that they are willing to send death threats to somebody over it. It's like, you all don't need Jesus. You all need the insane asylum. You guys really, really need some help. Because there is no reason why you should be threatening to kill somebody over a fucking video game. I'm sorry, they're not that serious. Hell, you shouldn't be threatening to kill anybody anyway. There's just no reason for it. Well, apparently he put out a statement. People didn't like it. It was continuing to be a problem, so they kicked him from the guild. And that brings me around to the point of large communities, in that invariably, and I've seen this happen personally as well, when certain people get together into a group and they start getting their particular personality cemented into the fabric of that group. Anytime that there is a clash of personalities, it almost always winds up being a huge ordeal. And this is especially true when you do have younger people mixing with older people. Because the younger people feel like they know better. The older people should know better, but don't necessarily. And at the end of the day, it just becomes a messy breakup. So I say all that to say that I actually really appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys because of the fact that so many of you are mature enough to a certain extent. I won't say all of you are, and you know who you are, but a lot of you have been really, really awesome. You have been very mature about things, because I talk a lot about a lot of really random crap. Like I know Brockstar and I have come across our differences, but at the end of the day, PP, we have been able to, okay, we have differences, we get a little heated about it, but then we just push it aside. Like, okay, well, that doesn't matter anymore. Let's continue being cool and being friends. So, I know, right? I'm always on the line. Sounds good. And I think that's something that is really important in communities, is being able to understand that we are all different. We all have different ideas on how things should be. Even in, something as mundane as the space engineers community. There are lots of people who'd be like, "Oh, you're doing this the wrong way. This is totally the way I'd do it." But I appreciate that no one person goes, "This is the only right way of doing it." All right, Brockstar. Have a good one, buddy. Stay out of trouble. So, at the end of the day, I really do appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Even if you abandon me when I play a different game, you're all like, "Nope, we're out." Okay. Or you sit here and listen to me ramble for 30 minutes about nonsense. And there we go. And it is a shame. It's a shame when people kind of get all caught up in their feels. Or true. Let's see how this is going to fit. Exquisite. Oh yeah, plenty of room here. Awesome. So, the other thing I want to do is probably also build a line of conveyors across. Look at that. It's almost like I planned ahead. Hooray for feeding time. Yeah, that sounds about right. Let's do this there. Oh no. You're on your own, buddy. I need that one. And bring this over to here. God, yes. I don't get what it is with eating cables, but cats and dogs love it. They're like, oh, this looks dangerous. I shall put it in my mouth now. Like, yeah, go ahead and do that. And basically, yeah, my cats have an affection for plastic bags like you get from the grocery store. They love chewing on them. I guess it feels good or something. There we go. And then I should be able to then run this. Let's actually run this down to about here, I think. Then I want to put a conveyor junction there. And then we'll do the armored conveyor tubes here. Awesome. That's probably true. I think in part it is that they just get bored and rubber is fun to play with. I don't even think it's a taste thing. It's just it's fun to play with. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I think this is a good start. So we've got our conveyor tube that'll come out here. And then from here, with this, I can actually run conveyors across the center line all the way and use these as points for what this playthrough. Yeah, I almost always play single player. That way I don't have to worry about block limitations. Run this across. And yeah, right. But I don't actually have a server, so I wouldn't want people connecting to my computer randomly while I'm trying to stream. If I had a server, on the other hand, that might be a little bit different. But I do not have one. I don't know. Maybe that's something that I'll do with my Twitch money, I think. If I make a decent amount when I do finally get paid, is that I'll go ahead and maybe see about doing like a server for a month or something. And then pop it on and recording it, doing some builds and stuff. It might be kind of fun. We'll have to see how that goes. Especially with Space Engineers 2 coming up. All right. So this will be... I also want to do is let's make this make sense, sort of. And then run the pipes down here to this, and then finally cargo container. That is going to be a lot of welding. However, once I get access over here, it'll be much easier to get to the items rather than having to run or fly back and forth. But now that I'm thinking about it, because one of the things that I've always wanted to do is like a cooperative based server that ran sort of like a mining outpost. I always thought that that would be kind of fun. You have people mining in vehicles, and then you'd have other hauler vehicles, stuff like that. I don't know. I'm getting a little tired of AI these days. AI this, AI that. You know what? I don't want AI anymore. Not unless it stands for artistic interpretation. Because that's one of the things that that part I've got pretty covered, but we'll have to wait and see. But I think one of the biggest problems we're facing today is we're spending a little bit too much time investing in the whole AI bubble. This is true. I have not. Need more motors. I always need more motors. Motors and small steel tubes. Yeah, I know what you meant. I was mostly just taking it as an opportunity to rant about AI, as I am tired of everything that comes out now also having to include the buzzword AI. Let's get... seven. Honestly, though, all right, go ahead and shoot, buddy. Almost. Um, I don't know if you can make another ship follow you at that range. That is a good question. I think there might be a limit to the range that it will lock onto you and follow you. That could work, yeah. That's another good point, because it'll probably track a beacon just fine. Nope, okay. Yeah, so it would probably lose track of you after a certain extent, because it's also based off of what it can actually track as well. So if it can no longer see you, then it probably wouldn't be able to follow you. Go. So I'm not, fortunately, I'm just not sure. That's possible. Now, you could probably do it with a script. Actually, I know you could do it with a script. And I know you could do it with a script because that's similar to the way that modular encounters works. But I don't know if you could just do it with the automaton blocks. Although that begs, then yeah, a script should be able to do it. Because again, that's essentially the same sort of behavior. That's baked in AI behavior. That's essentially the way that the enemy AI works, because it will try and track you if at all possible, and it will follow you. So, short answer, yes, it's doable. Long answer, I don't fucking know how to do it. Okay. There we go. Yeah, exactly. If Fant still came by, he could probably write it up for you. He'd probably love to do that. Space engineers shop. Ship followers script. Random faces. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not. Well, there's a guided missile script. That's kind of that direction. But oh, auto follow drone. Let's see. Oh, oh yeah, no, that wouldn't work. Yeah, that's one of those. I really don't know. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick AFK. Getting kind of hungry, so I'm gonna go make myself something to eat real quick. Also, kind of mentally gestate over. Actually, you know what? Let's. Yeah, and that's the funny thing is that there are lots of different ways. You know, it's an easy enough thing to do. The problem comes down to the specifics of it. I know that there was a script that Splitsy used a long time ago that was a follower drone. You could set it up so that the drones would follow a specific target, but I don't know what their range was. And that was also a really long time ago, so I don't know if that script is still viable. Oh, that's why. I know what I need to do. Just realized this. Your friction needs to be 0. I think that's part of why I've been having so many problems with you. That's the rotor. I need the wheel. There we go. Oh yeah, that is so much better. I think that's why I've been having so many problems with the trailer and with flipping it, is because those wheels had their friction set up to 50%. And so what was happening was that they kept catching on the terrain rather than just gliding across it. That is going to make driving so much easier. Awesome. Okay. Wow. It took me how long to figure that out? There we go. Awesome. It's actually not too bad. So in this particular case, let me go ahead and... Which one are you? You are the legs. Or the... We need to be on. That's the ore detector. Switch lock, and then merge blocks are off. Okay, cool. I'll just move this kind of out of the way a little bit so we can take a look at this. So the way that this is set up is that I just have the back wheels, and then I have these trailer hitch legs so that I can keep it lifted up. But the way that I have this set up is that I'm actually using a connector and merge block setup for this. It would, in some cases, just be easier to build it directly onto the back of your pulling vehicle, but it's personal preference. But I have a rotor here so that it can swivel, and then that's connected to a hinge for up and down movement, and then another rotor so that it can roll. And you want to make sure that you have all three of those axes covered. Otherwise, it does get messy. And then I just make sure that this can all stay upright. And then what I do, how would I set up a trailer with a heavy load? The load doesn't matter as much. That part's not that big of a problem. For that, I would use a different tractor. So what I would do for that is, instead of this mechanism where it's connecting to directly to the back, what I would do is actually set it up so that, say, I would chop off the back portion of this, and then I would move the hitch attachment point, so this, over or in between the back two wheels here, so that they're carrying most of the weight of the connection between them, as well as the hinge attachments, the hitch. Because then at that point, this doesn't matter as much. You could probably just go ahead and put two wheels back here. So, two on this side, two on that side. But up front would be roughly the same. And then the best thing to do after that, in order to increase the maximum pulling power of your tractor, would most likely be to go ahead and put some atmospheric thrusters on it. So over flat terrain, it would do fine. Or downhills, it would be fine. When you start getting to uphills, then you could go ahead and turn on the atmospheric thrusters so that you can get a little bit of extra oomph going up the hills. And that would most likely be your best way of doing it, so that you get maximum out of it. And then as far as gotcha, yeah. Subgrid control scripts are great for that. But that would be your best way to go about it. And then just, making sure that your hitch attachment is set up in such a way. And you also want to make sure that you have plenty of clearance so that as your trailer is churning, it doesn't slam into or bump into your hitch. So it needs to be able to move fairly freely. Yeah, that's the biggest thing that tends to kind of get people in trouble, is making sure that they have enough clearance. And then also make sure that you can turn these on and off. And what I like to do, and what I did here, was I set up a light so that I could tell when these are turned on. So that way I know that they're locked in place and I can just pull away from it. Because otherwise you'd then have to go in here and reset or change their orientation, then lock them off, and then make sure that you can reattach them. So he did that with Survival Unlikely, and that's when he set up the Goose. And that was 3 rotors that he used on that one. Because that's essentially how I learned to do it as well. I have watched that series all the way through twice now. Oh, he did a train. So that must have been one of the later ones, because I haven't kept up with all of his series. Scrapyard? Okay, yeah. I haven't watched that one all the way through. That's possible. Personally, though, I think you need at least one rotor just for the yaw. So that way, as this slides back and forth, you need at least a rotor for that. A hinge wouldn't work. But you could probably pretty easily do... Well, no, you could use... No, you could do it, because then you would use the hinge here sideways. Okay, so you could do it. Yeah, you could use 3 hinges. What you would do is put the side-to-side hinge up front, so that way the whole trailer and hitch would slide back and forth. Then I would do the up and down, the pitch. And then you would do the roll on this one. So the back and forth, the side-to-side roll. That would work. But I think this one has the least likelihood of failure in this design, which is what I was going for. So anyway, though, like I said, I'm going to go grab something to eat real quick. I'm a little bit hungry. Then we will continue working on this. So I shall be back in just... That's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. I'll be back in just a few. Make sure we can see what's going on here. Here we go. Alrighty, sorry about the delay there. Had to scarf down my food. There. Alrighty. Let's not suffocate ourselves. There we go. Okay. Um, Actually, for moving that much stuff, I wouldn't use drones. I would go ahead and essentially build since you're on Mars, you should be able to use atmospheric thrusters, if I remember correctly. But what I would do is build basically thruster rings around the build thruster rings around each of the containers that you can then connect to one another so that each one can support its own weight thruster wise. Then from there, build a forward and a back section so that you have tons of reverse thrusters and tons of forward thrusters, and then also some side to side lateral thrusters. And then I would go ahead and use it to pick up, let's say, like 4 containers at a time. And then just carry them up to a certain altitude so that you can kind of weave around your enemy bases. And then finally go ahead and drop them off where you need to. I think that would be the easiest way to do it. And you could even set it up so that you can just reuse the rings, if you will, to collect more stuff. Would be about 5 trips if you have 20 of them. So you could do 5 at a time or 6 at a time. You could do any number of them. You just have to be able to support the weight, have enough power for the trip, and then also be able to return. And that's it. What? Okay. Let's get to work on more of this. Cat, I love you, but I'm about to kick you out. Okay. That wouldn't be too bad either. So the assertive ships spawn like most of the others in terms of it's both on a timer. I believe the timer is randomized too. But also it's based off of a points system. So typically it is how many kilometers you've traveled, the size of your grid, the PCU of your grid, the number of weapons, the amount of power you're outputting. Really? You're just going to sit there and pet yourself the entire time? Good, I do have that correct. Let's do this. But as far as the exact specifics as to what causes them to spawn, I don't know offhand. Yeah, it may be that assertive is actually more based off of distance traveled than anything else. What are you doing back there, girl? You are trying to be the biggest pain in the ass, aren't you? There we go. I don't think so. I think it's the amount of distance that you have traveled over the planet or in general. I don't think it's within a specific area. But I could be wrong about that. I don't 100% know how the game calculates distance travel, or more specifically, how the script calculates it. If there's like some sort of fog of war mechanic, so that as you explore more of an area and it opens up more of an area, then it's like, oh, well, this counts as more distance traveled versus any other method. There we go. That light is still tracking me. Okay. Let's drop you down to 30, I think. I just got to remember where I put it. Custom turret controller for that. Yeah, you goober. Come on over. There you go. Yeah, I know you're chilly. My hands are cold though. Yeah. Okay. I think it was this one. Okay. Yeah, spotlight. And your aiming radius will drop you down to, let's say, 40 meters. So that way, once I get outside of here, it stops trying to lock onto me. Awesome. What? Huh? What? I'm trying to work here. I know you don't care. You're like, yeah, but you need to love me. Watch the claws. Those hurt. Yeah. What you need is a nice big electric blanket so that you could lay on top of that and be nice and warm. Leave me alone. Yeah. Sorry, my hands are so cold, but okay. Get up out of my lap. Go lay down on the bed. All right. Anyway, sorry. Always got to pay the cat tax. She is just so gosh dang adorable. How much iron do I have left? 25,000 plus another. Okay, good. Let's get some more going. Roll this forward. There we go. Now I can finish this up. And then I think for the ceiling, what I will do for that is glass it in. Kind of like the way that I have that glass topped. Uh-oh. There we are. And that is most of that one finished. And then it's just putting in the interior blocks here, and we'll be all set. What might not also be a bad idea is going ahead and putting some more turrets on top of here. Although I may put some different ones other than just the Gatlings. I may also do like the artillery or the autocannons, just so that there is some variety in the firearms and the firepower that the base has. So that way, if anything does come close enough to start doing damage to the base, I can go ahead and get rid of it fairly quickly overall. And not have to worry too much about it. All right. Oh no, out of steel plate again. Oh, and also yesterday, since I'm just welding up, not doing any real work, but yesterday I went ahead and I was playing some more Path of Exile 2. And I was like, okay, well, I've already got a monk started. I got my mercenary to the point where he's doing maps. And I have my witch who can do maps, but she's not very good at it. So, or not my witch, my sorceress. So I went ahead and I started a witch. And the witch is going to be a minion build. which I'm already starting to like her overall, her build and play style. But it's definitely interesting as you play the very different classes, how they do also have a lot of crossover in what skills you wind up picking up or utilizing. Oh, I need more interior plate. So, for instance, my witch is using Flame Wall, which is also what my sorceress uses. In fact, it seems like in a lot of cases, flame builds tend to be more frequently used than most of the others. Now, I'm not saying that they aren't. The other elements aren't utilized, because I know they are. I've seen those builds. I've seen what people do with them. But just generally, it seems like flame or fire builds are preferable for a lot of situations, which is cool. There we go. Actually, now I'm wanting to play. But let's get this welded up. I at least want to get one of these bays welded up so that I have a better idea of how all of the rest of this is going to wind up looking. And then once I get this done, then I have a better clue as to how I want to finish up the others. The only drawback is that I don't currently have a method of connecting the tank to the base. I don't have a connector. I don't have all of that fun stuff. Although I probably should at some point. If I put a connector anywhere, I'd probably put it on the back, I think. So I'd most likely want some sort of connector set up from behind. Which I could conceivably do as a pop out from the floor and have it either hinge upwards or I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Because I know there's lots of different ways to do one of those sort of pop-up hinge plates. Like, I kind of, and this is something that Space Engineers 2 is going to fix. But I kind of wish that they did have a shorter large grid piston. Because that would solve a lot of problems, because you don't always need a full-size piston. In fact, in most cases, you don't need a full-size piston. You just need maybe like a couple of meters of movement. There we go. Awesome. So that should... Let's see. Okay, hold on a second. My eyes are just way too dry. I need to make them wet. Got all this air blowing directly on my eyes. go. There goes one. Oh, there goes two. Ah. No, I'm crying. Okay, that should help. There. Now they don't feel so damn dry. Oh. Okay, back to work here. Ah. Now I got the opposite problem. They're too wet. Why is there no happy middle ground? All right, so what I'm looking at is what I would like to do is how would I do that? If I do this, what am I doing? Probably my best bet for a connector, as I said previously, is let's do steel interior. Okay, I did get all of them. So put in a connector. Yeah, I could do connector back there. Oh, God bless it. Get me some small steel tubes. There we go. Then swap you out for copper junction. I'm sure they do. I know in a lot of cases you can find spots where you have not an isolated amount, but at least a large amount that spreads out by itself before it runs into something else. Oh. Okay. Then I can run this like so. There we go. Yeah, I like that. That will make it a little bit harder to hit. Oh, look, it's another storm. Let's go running over here. This is the best part. I can actually just open this up. And technically, we are now closed off from the outside world. I should go ahead and put a vent in here, though. Oh, yeah, that's got the sign on it. I don't want to do that. What I could probably do is... do air vent. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll do that there. Okay. And then air vent, air vent. All right. You will be depressurize. And there we go. So now I have an airtight room. At least one airtight room here. That is mostly going to be clear from the sand. There. Awesome. Is it? Okay. Magnesium, though, now that you mention it, is one of those ones that's kind of painful to find in large enough quantities for what you want to do. Let's turn this that way. Grab what we need for it. Okay. Yeah, that's not going to work. Upper limit is going to be 0. There we are. And then the other thing I'm going to have to make sure of is that it can get down far enough. Oh, no. Could I use a piston? I mean, I know I can, but will it fit properly in here? Yes. And then I just need that. And then I'll be able to get this connected to the base to at least recharge the tank. Not necessarily to rearm it or anything, but definitely to recharge. One computer is what I was short. Okay. There we go. All right. So now if I bring this down to wherever. And then all right. That is actually, that's a really good height. You are at a height of 4.14. Let's try 4.2. Not much really. Just designing the connector for the tank. Which that looks... Let's bring this up just a little bit. Okay. Yeah, that looks to be perfect. Yeah, well, the tank, such as it is, it's not finished. And you are tank connector. I need you. There we are. Oh yeah, no, I mod blocks, or I have modded blocks almost all the time. This is one of the few times where I am not using modded blocks. I wanted this to be more of a vanilla-ish run. But yeah, no, like I've got I've got the Battleship Revenge, which is, aside from the huge amounts of armor, like 90% modded blocks. So, but yeah, I saw the shuttle. It's definitely cute. I like it. It's got a nice look to it. There we go. That way we can go ahead and start recharging those batteries. And then I at least want to figure out how the roof is going to look on this. So girders. A bit more of that and that. Nice. I need windows. Specifically, I need the 1x1 faces, by one flat, and then vertical window. Put you there. Yes. Yeah, this will work. This is what I want. And then I just got to put these across. Damn it. There we go. You over there and over here. Oh man, lunch was good. Had a quick, lunch meat sandwich with some Swiss. But then I also went ahead and we've got the Frito dips. They're basically the Frito chips, but they're bigger and they're cupped. And then I poured in a little of picante sauce into it and had them that way, and it was so good. They're so delicious. Now all I have to do, that there. And awesome. Oh yeah. Can only place it against another connection point. And oh, I need girders. But this should be good enough. And then also, how much glass do I have? I'm going to need a lot more glass, but we will break that bridge when we get to it. Awesome. And so, yeah, this is going to look really nice, especially during the day when the sun actually starts coming through it. And so you'll have the illumination there. Oh, whoops. Fine. Come around this way and do it. And over here. Finally, we get this done. There. And that is essentially going to be our sort of carport for the tank. And then we'll just have to do this for Red Rover. I'll do another one for the Scout. Actually, I'll do another one that's going to be empty because that one is most likely going to be for another vehicle of some sort. And then the final one will be for Scout and some smaller vehicles if we get to that point. But I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up for today. Got quite a lot accomplished. Had a little bit of fun with the tutorial segment at the beginning, just to kind of get people started into it. And that was more so for YouTube than anything else, but also to answer any questions you guys had. And then tomorrow we'll work some more on this. I still need to get a proper mining vehicle going. Although honestly, considering the fact that really the only thing that I've been after for all of this is iron, and I have it right there, it hasn't been too bad. And most of these builds have been slightly smaller scale anyway, so it all kind of works out. But this has been a lot of fun. This playthrough is not really like a long-term playthrough, although it very easily could be, but it is interesting and it is enjoyable, and putting in some sort of limitations for myself has made it more of a unique experience. So, but tomorrow we'll work some more on the carports here, on the garages, and then from there we can see about what we're going to do next. I think the next project, the next big project, is going to be working on the rocket silo and figuring out how we want it to operate. And then from there, we'll see what's going to be next. So otherwise, though, that is it for today. As always, thank you all for joining me on these misadventures. So glad to have you guys along for the ride. You all have a wonderful day. Stay out of trouble. And remember, if you get caught, I don't know you. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.